Alright folks, now we're on to 5.2. So we've already learned how to graph, which is an estimation, and then we have to check our solution, but now we are finding exact answers. So we're going to solve using substitution from the very beginning. So we have our steps written out for you guys. We're going to solve one of the equations for one of the variables, because we need to get only one variable in that equation, because after that we're substituting an expression from step 1 into the other equation and solving for that variable. So this is hard to follow right now, but I'll walk through the steps as we solve the first example. So after we substitute the first time, we substitute that value and find the other variable value. Again, I think it's kind of hard to follow steps until we actually do them. So let's start with number 1. It says to solve one of the equations for one variable. So that means we're either going to have an x equals or a y equals. And then the thing over here is the expression mentioned in step 2. So we already have our y equals. So this is the expression we're substituting in for y. So we're going to put that right here for y. Okay, so we have our 6x minus 5, and that's where we put that expression, and that equals negative 19. Let's fill in that expression, negative 2x minus 9. Okay, and from now on, we're just solving like we know how to do. So we're going to take this negative 5 and multiply it by negative 2x. We get plus 10x. And we're taking negative 5 times negative 9, and we get plus 45. That equals negative 19. We combine like terms, as always. And we're subtracting 45. We get 16x equals negative 64. We divide, and I'm running out of room here. And we get x equals negative 4. Okay, so this is our x value. So this is the x value of the ordered pair. Okay, now we are taking in that x equals negative 4, substituting again into an original equation. Okay, I'm going to pick this top one. Y, which is what we need, equals negative 2 times our value minus 9. I'm plugging in negative 4. Y equals 8 minus 9. So y equals negative 1. So our solution is negative 4, negative 1. Okay, now example 2 is going to look a little different. We know step 1, we have to have a y equals or an x equals. So looking at this, we have to choose which variable do we want to solve for and which equation do we want to use. So I'm going to pick the top. You want to make it easy on yourself. Both of these are pretty easy to solve for x, or y I mean, but here all we have to do is add the x to the other side. Then we get x plus 3 equals y. So now we're going to plug in this for y right here. So we are going to do 3x plus, now since it is a plus sign, we can drop the parentheses. I'm going to give you a hint. If you have a minus sign, you need to keep parentheses to distribute. Okay, that is just a side note. Plus signs are no parentheses, minus signs mean you have to distribute. So now it's pretty simple. We're combining like terms. We're subtracting 3. We're getting 4x equals negative 4. We divide by 4. X equals negative 1. Now that is our first part of the solution. Now we need y. So you have to plug this into an original equation. So let's do it to the top. Here's that negative sign where we have to use parentheses. So we're plugging in negative 1. Now this negative times a negative makes a positive 1. So now we subtract 1. We get y equals 2. Okay, so the second example, we had to solve for y. Then you're doing substitution twice. You're plugging it in, finding x, plugging x in, finding y. Okay, and you can always double check your answers, just like we did in 5.1. We're going to plug in negative 1 for x, 2 for y. If we get 3, if we get negative 1, we are correct. There's no reason that a grade should surprise you for this section because you can always check your answer. Okay, and then 1 and 2, I put the answers down so you guys can practice, ask me any questions, and now you know if you got it or not. Okay, so that's all we're doing for 5.2.